Good afternoon. It is past 2 p.m. here, Pacific Standard Time. I'm in San Diego, El Cajon, Rancho San Diego. It is Reagan. It is the year 2025, and I am Formalization Admiral and Chancellor at Kailan Takatani. After the last video, I think residents may be thinking beyond that and about how many residents is 38% of the aggregate. If we think in terms of what we know, have heard up until now on level 2, I have and calculated with figures. I have to go through my videos in order to look up what I've said before, but per the information, my own knowledge, firstly, thinking that there's 500,000 planets in one dimension of planets, the number being that are livable with residents on them is around 500,000. And then from there, you want to take the number of splits that have come forth, which is through what, right? Creating variation and actualizing people with variation, not this emergence of a dimension through possibility. That doesn't happen, right? And then thinking from the lowest number that I've heard, 14,000 splits. And then the biggest number out there is 24,000 splits. Since the era of the prevalence or peak, including of the race of Dufresne, and there we're thinking from them began the technology in order to create actualize people with variation and create these splits. And when it comes to 14,000. Should I start with the greater number? Because the range is what we're believing when it comes to this. Well, I am right now. 24,000 splits is almost about 5 billion and 500, 600 million planets. That's times 500,000, 24,000. That's how many planets you have with residents living on them. In that composite on the other side of it, which is considered positive, and people have been moving and being collected, and it is at 38% of the aggregate of existing residents. That's including, right, all of the splits and their residents. And then when it comes to 14,000, it's at about 2,600,000,000 planets. So within this range of like 2,600,000,000 and was 4,600,000,000 is the range of what we would think from this point will be pulled out. They have been preserved, and for firstly, we think situationally, corporate activities and personnel resources hiring. And then their own movements when it comes to whether they maintain their situations and as positive in a position of would do their assets, and then having concern for their security being provided by the government, and that means their own participation in reformalization or formalization. So from this point, thinking of the corporate situation across the aggregate, people are like, when it comes to the inside area, you have people working, there's a gradient of their situations, and then those who are already doing planning, per the post I made last night about my scheduling for the order of my purchases, and it firstly necessitating me relocating to another country I want to live in. Because as my formalization situation goes, as a formalization admiral, it cannot be done here in America. It is Reagan and I am Filipino. If that makes sense to anyone, it means that what? The things that I have not been able to do in this country, I can in other countries on Earth, right? It's knowing that and figuring out what the differences are in the culture and, like kind of like also knowing cultural, societal, like ideas there and etiquette and all that. But what would I have? Like starting from a normal situation of what? Maybe people are thinking vices. Uh, yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, sir. What would have you if I were in America formalizing as an Asian American, and then you consider that a planet requires its vices moving, or else you don't have residents that want to live there, and me as its leader in America, right? Sounds more of a difficult to like in terms of activities and conducting them at the same time, knowing that that's there. So ETA on activities involving what? Also involving cycles, because you can't predict that all of these residents, maybe they know, they will come to know when they come to new situations, but based on their activities up until now, being considered positive, and then like what percentage of them will befall negative activities and then actually decimate going through the activities over the universe timeline of pulling out positives. Have to consider also logic which is coming to me, which I think is also, of course, true. Thank you, sirs and ma'ams. So, looking at what maybe people want to be thinking of when it will become a bull market across these connected planets involving activities and my purchases and me moving. When these planets are aligned with the same date as I have going on in my situation. And isn't it basically at the pace of my own purchasing? Kind of, when it comes to that. But the rest of the universe, which is moving on its own, such as the people working and their own purchases. And then, how much impetus have I created up until now? Thank you. I don't know. I have to hear information in order to be able to gauge that. Monitoring is what I think for all of us, especially considering we get preserved and collected, and then it takes time to kind of put together the amount of time you've been collected, because you'll hear false information also, and like when they say it's been 8 years and all that, and then it hasn't been, of course, you've been continuous, it's only been less than 5 minutes, and they're just attacking you. Things like this, and then coming to find out how long you've been collected, and then the situation as of present on the plane is how. And then how long does that take to ascertain, right? Because when you're going through preservations or collection, the information that you hear, the pace of it, along with the pace of your collections, right? You may not gather all the information about the situation before you get collected again, and then you have to find out more. I don't know. I've been through almost 20 years in the past 2 weeks, so it's at that pace. I've been through being collected at like maybe 200 years over the past 3 years of my own timeline at once. Things like there's variability like this, but looking forward, what would I know? Nothing in terms of when I can expect to be preserved or for how long. If they think through the necessity of preparation for events that they should, I'll find that out, and then like if there's any events of which I have experienced up until now of conspiring and leading to my preservation in order to conduct negative activities, I'll also eventually find that out. And right, looking at the whole situation as being moved by the corporate sector firstly, not league. Because until they come into play with their own activities in my situation, which are also at the pace of my own consuming of their media, when it comes to any league, I have to kind of three that, because I have to be kind of managing the pace of the level two interaction, communication. If I pile up too much of it with too many leagues because it's MLN, I could see myself out of balance and not able to carry on all of my objectives or needing to slow down again, something like this. So thank you, ma'am. In terms of like what we know as in terms of like my involvement or what you know of the events of my situation up until now across the universe timeline, it would all seem fitting that there was quite a significant influence of my activities on the aggregate. So just to put that out once verbally, because leaving it unsaid would, even though we're looking at all the same data and information, it's better to say that because then we can expect it and not like think, how can this one person be influencing all of this movement across the corporate? Well, that's all we hear. If you haven't heard it yet, you kind of need to update yourself. And I'm not in the habit of repeating myself and like tiring myself by saying the same things over and over. It's people's responsibilities to update themselves and know the current situation before they make movements even. So I'll just end it on that, and then it's monitoring the situation in terms of corporate movement, and then seeing if we will hear information beyond that when it comes to reformalization or formalization activities going on across the aggregate. So what do we think? I heard in a time frame of months, people are thinking that the situation will significantly change, but myself thinking what? When do I project to receive CLA? Because if this situation with the PML objective of my parents needing to be what? They've been absent from my situation, my own parents, since last year, last October. If people know the events of what happened there. It's been these SMLs impersonating my parents for 9 months. And there are all kinds of indicators telling me I need to move on, and I finally have my priorities in order to do so. It's calling banks in Europe, in Sweden and Switzerland in order to figure out which banks will cater to my needs when it comes to acquiring CLA. That happens from, it's been my kind of like priority, but getting things in order now, I think from the bank's opening come the next business day here, I shall start calling and finding out where I should collect my restitution, which has already been paid. Aside from my regulars, it's 15 quindecillion. That's 46 zeros in 1 quindecillion. That's the amount of money I have to put towards an MLN planet and make it league, right? Its facilities and everything. And I'm already mantling and officially as how many people that are white historical figures, superheroes, or villains. So that's my situation, and watching it unfold in terms of what people expect me to do from this point, which I've stated in other videos, and then monitoring what goes on with level 2 audio in terms of corporate and league, and the aggregate and its residents' movements when it comes to these activities. So that's all for now. Good afternoon, sirs and ma'ams.